I am not going to take it. No, I'm not taking it out of the box. Okay. So stop trying to convince me to do. I'm not going to do that. No, it's not a good enough reason. No, I don't care that you. No. Hi there. Don't mind me. I'm just arguing with a toy about. See the toy, and don't get it twisted. I'm pretty certain that it's not just a toy. I'm pretty certain that it's definitely some sort of also, monster guy and stuff like that. Also, I don't have your comments turned on, so I can't see them. I should probably do that at some point, you think? But I was just arguing with that toy because he wants me very, very much. Because he saw the other day, even though I tried to hide it from him, because he's kind of like Benny Barkington, one of our corgis, in that if he sees something that appears to be kind of his, he's going to make it his. It's the same thing. Little Cthulhu even thinks that he owns the 10-inch Cthulhu. Again, 10 inches. I'm not jealous. And he said, that's mine. Which is what he said. He said, I don't care that you think that is. I need you to open the box and take it out of the box. I don't care that it's sealed. And stop it with all of your stories and all of your nonsense. I need you to open this box for me. And by the way, I'm going to name this man Ron. I'm not taking it out of the box. You ever... Do you ever set... Do you ever like set things like hotkeys and stuff, and then you put them in your Stream Deck, and then you can't find them? That's what I just did. And I don't know if Susan texted me and told me that she could see or hear me. So I guess we're gonna find out because I don't have the comments turned on right now. Again, probably something I should do. You think? See, this is what happens when I produce my own show / do a show at all. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go turn the comments on, and I'm probably gonna get some like audio in the background. Who knows? See, now even my lighting, I should probably fix my lighting as well. But here I am, not fixing my lighting. See, honestly, I really, really hope that I tried to mute the video and it went to the comments. Oh, well, thank you. It sounds good. Maybe lean back from the microphone. See, this is the thing. I have the microphone set in here to it's down to stream is disconnected. The stream is disconnected. Wow. It's not my fault. I don't know. Anyways, a guy by the name of Edward A. Carter. Again, somebody that I was speaking with Susan about with Susan. This was a gentleman who fought in... Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's not me. He fought in World War II. And he was demoted, discriminated against, and gravely injured. And despite everything that he did in service of his country in World War II, and he did a lot, including volunteering with 3 other men to go and, after the company that he was with, under heavy fire when they were in Germany. I almost said German occupied Germany, but whatever. And he volunteered to go and take out these German weapons. Two of the people that he went with were immediately killed. The third person was wounded and couldn't continue. Mr. Carter was shot 5 times. And he still survived. Now, there's a bit of luck to go with that, obviously. He survived. He was able to eliminate the German threat, the Nazi threat. And his convoy then, and the company he was with, survived. They ignored his bravery completely. He wasn't promoted because of it. And he died with no recognition from the United States military, the United States government. It wasn't until 60 years after his actions, so the turn of the century, that Edward A. Carter was awarded the Medal of Honor. Now, how did things like that happen? Well, it's super easy if you're in the U.S. military and you're a black man. No matter what you do, no matter the stories of red tails, no matter your heroism, it doesn't matter. Go and look at how many people that weren't white received the Medal of Honor in World War I. Now go look at it in World War II. And come and even look at it now. If you didn't know this, the military specifically targets men of color, black men. And the target is, well, you'll never get out of your situation, but I can give you free college. So you should come and do this so you get your free college. And so you have a very diverse military based upon that by itself. And yet, even though they have the same, even though black men, black women, any other person of color in the military shows the same amount or even more courage, the white counterparts are the ones who benefit, the ones who you see receiving more medals, receiving more honors. It was just something that I was reminded of, because today's the 27th of February, or the 28th if you live somewhere else, I guess. Anyways, and wanted to think about that, to I think help us to remember. I know this has nothing to do with anything we're talking about on the channel, for sure, and certainly not tonight. Oh, we're getting to it, so stick around. It's not going to be very long, and trust me, you're gonna I don't know, maybe you get mad at me. Who knows? I just moved the camera. Somebody just text messaged me. Was it Susan? No, it's my buddy Brian saying he got the Nike job. Hey, man, congrats. Hello, Brian. Reminded that Black History Month is every February, but Black history is every single day. And the Black reality is every single day, and we can't forget that. In March, by the way, is Women's History Month, and so I am planning on having a show more than once a quarter, and so hopefully I'll have something in March. And there's a person that I want to mention then as well. So, with that being said, let's get into some of the and by the way, look him up, Edward A. Carter. Let's get into some of the funnier parts of this. Here, I'm going to, and this particular video for some reason has been kind of freezing a little bit when I try to play it, but I think you'll get the gist of it. So
here's the deal. Also, you know, Russia is
It's not that one. It's the other one. That. Don't know why that happened again. I didn't tell it to do that. Anyways, so the video was really choppy and stuff like that. I don't know why it did that. When I first put it in there, it worked fine. But hey, this is my channel, and so that's going to happen. But that video posted to the team's Instagram earlier this past week was a baseball uniform reveal for Liberty University. There we go. Sorry. Liberty University, a well-known evangelical college in Lynchburg, great choice of a name, Virginia, which has a building called the Center for Creation Studies and offers students a minor in creation studies. Oh, and it's the university which was created by now thankfully dead bigot Jerry Falwell, and then run by his son Jerry Falwell Jr. until he, resigned after being, as we predicted on this channel, Susan and I did, outed for his goings-on in his sex life, including being cuckolded by his wife and pool boy in Florida, and then being the super creepy dad with his pants unbuttoned and unzipped in a photo with a co-ed. Now, I'm not here to shame you, Jerry. You do you. No, whatever you want to do, bro. That's fine. As long as nobody gets hurt. Don't be creepy. But I mention that only because of how hypocritical you are and how much of a piece of garbage you are. So, like and subscribe. But back to the baseball uniforms. Now, that's a pretty cool reveal. And, undeniably so. It was Mariah Carey's music, and the guy looked like the lead singer in Nickelback. Honestly, I don't know if she's from Canada, but sure. And the number 18 team in the nation, Liberty Flames, on fire, fresh off a series win at number 9, Florida. They did well. Those are some good-looking uniforms. But maybe they're not as great as we think. Because, as it turns out, some Twitter sleuths, me and others, we were quick to point out that they are really similar to these. Yeah, now that is the University of Mississippi, a school with a racist history, some of which I detailed in a video last January. Link possibly in the description. I don't know. Susan didn't help with this video, so that's kind of up in the air. But powder blue, pretty much the exact same font. Even the team name is underlined. I personally have to wonder if it took the team 6,000 years to copy Mississippi, but I guess they are sticking with their religion's habit of copying from others. So, but let's move on to another video. And this one is also on the East Coast, but it's up the road a little bit in what some folks are really hoping is a competitive state, Delaware. Now, side note, it's oh, there's the jerseys right there. There you go. That's the unis. They look just like Mississippi's, but Delaware is not competitive. And also, I put the 45 there because I refuse to say the previous guy's name. But Biden won that state by 19 points. And so did every other Democrat, period. Every Democrat that was on the ballot there in the statewide races won. But everybody, it seems, has an opinion about Russia invading Ukraine.
Here's the deal also, Russia is a Christian nationalist nation. They're actually Orthodox Christian. I'm Russian Orthodox. So, I actually support Putin's right to protect his people and always put his people first, but also protect their Christian values. I identify more with with Putin's Christian values than I do with Joe Biden. So, there is that. There is that there. Christian nationalist countries also are a threat to the global regime, like the Luciferian regime. It wants to mash everything together, but Putin takes care of his people. He looks out for his people. I watched as he deported, they literally walked them through the streets, the criminal illegals who were coming into their country. Yeah. They walked them out and they escorted them out and they said, get out. I can respect that. I can respect that, and I can respect the fact that Putin does everything he can to protect his people.
So that person was Lauren Witzke, or as she's better known, the person that Delaware Republican voters chose to represent them in the 2020 U.S. Senate race against incumbent Democrat Chris Coons. Yeah. Witzke, who is a part of Qanon, and is a paleoconservative, which I just learned basically means she's a Christian nationalist. Voters chose her over Republican candidate and Marine veteran Jim DiMartino. Now, he wasn't exactly the best, saying he wanted to support the former president to stop the, quote, existential democratic or domestic terror threat of democratic socialists. Way to go with those two, GOP. Way to choose the cream of the fucking crop there. Now, the Delaware GOP, the DOP, if you will, must have thought that her name was Liz Cheney because they said, yeah, we've never met her, and decided to instead go against the will of the people by endorsing DiMartino. But again, there's 19 points right there. Chris Coons won by 22 points. Yeah. Now, she hasn't gone away, though, as you can see there. Even though she's apparently too extreme for Rick Wiles. Happy to hear, by the way, you survived your bout with COVID. Huzzah, and all of that. And was fired from his production company. And I guess she now apparently goes on a show with this guy, the guy in the blue. I don't know. We actually spoke about them when we were guests on Utah Outcasts. Make sure to like and subscribe to that amazing channel, and also Patreon and all the other stuff too. And now I would say, can you believe she's outright supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine? But of course you can. I don't even need to say anything. All I would need to say is that she's a Christian nationalist. So of course, as all nationalists who say MAGA and America first has more in common with Russia, which and I'm guessing is America. We should think about that first. I don't really know how this goes anymore. It's almost like they don't actually have a set pattern of things that they do, and it's almost like their moral standard doesn't actually exist, and they're just doing things on it's Christian nationalism, except for not this nationalism. It's for the other one, the other dictator. See, they had like a wannabe dictator, and then Russia has one, and they're like, yo, can we have that, but in like the orange flavor? Because otherwise, it's almost like it's almost like they just do things out of convenience and just don't actually have any policy in mind and only want to try to get in the way and to stop things and to, I don't know. be some sort of like death squad or something for every bill that Democrats put forward. I don't know. Maybe like a creature that would come from Hades and come up and be like, hey, you're coming with me. I don't know. I got to think of a name for that character at some point. We should ask Mitch McConnell. But it's almost expected. Now, the part about the Luciferian governments saying that she identifies more with Putin's Christian values than Joe Biden's. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that you do. But it's a little bit small, sorry. 75% of Ukrainians consider themselves Orthodox Christians, which, by the way, is what Putin claims to be. So, ma'am, you can't just expect American conservatives to not know anything about Ukraine, okay? American conservatives know exactly where it is on the map, know that it's right next to Poland, and they understand that like 8% of the population, including quite obviously those who are in the government, in the country's government, are Jewish, and things like that. You can't expect people to not know anything. I mean, I guess you can. I don't really know how it works anymore. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea how it works. Can you just like say whatever you want and people believe you? Is that how it works on the right? Because But enough with the videos, because I want to get through this stuff real quick so that I can get to the person, to the piece of fucking shit that we're talking about tonight. It's okay. Let's move on to something that's a little bit more fun, like the Christofascism of QAnon. Well, never mind. I think you already knew about that. I don't really need to talk about it, although it is kind of awesome. They call them the Ku Klux Klan, all with Qs. I'll be honest with you. That's kind of awesome. What about this one from South Carolina in November? So apparently, it says here, Roseboro, last name of a person, not a town, but also probably the name of a town, arrested for murder / non-negligent manslaughter of son, and then of course the full name is Mary Amelia Roseboro. According to the incident report, Roseboro's brother, Will, rushed toward the room where Amelia was as Amelia was coming out with the gun breached as she was trying to reload. Will tackled his sister and restrained her until deputies arrived. According to the incident report, Will Roseboro, he said that she made a statement, something to the effect that she wanted to send the victim to heaven. So, what's funny though is that the family is all, she's a sweet girl and got Christmas presents for her son and all of that, etc., etc. And I mean, I'm sorry, they're family, but do I need to go over one more time what she said? Like the reason that she murdered her son? My camera's a smart camera. So that wasn't actually fun. Okay, let me try this one real quick before we get to the thing I want to talk about. December 31st. And I know it's almost March, but it's been like a minute. Like I said, I do like one of these a quarter, and that's the reason my stage presence right now isn't quite as awesome as I would like it to be. So this one, obviously makes atheists happy. Millennials lead the shift away from organized religion as pandemic tests America's faith. All right, then, so we already knew about this. All right, so the key points. A Pew Research study found 29% of U.S. adults had no religious affiliation, an increase of 6 percentage points from 2016. Millennials are leading the shift away from organized religion, according to the survey. More faith leaders are stepping out the outreach efforts, social media, etc., etc. And yes, there's that. And yes, millennials, younger ones, do have the highest, quote, unaffiliated responses. So, yay atheism, we're taking over the world or something. Well, it actually doesn't say more atheists. But even if it did say more atheists, even if it said more atheists, or the unaffiliated are more atheists. I've been over this how many times, I don't know. But even if it said there's more atheists, consider this. This is Niger. And every single one of you would love to hear the former president try to pronounce it. But this is the third fastest growing, as far as population, country in the world. It's in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, if you will. Me 1 second here, because I believe. Sorry, I found something that I wanted to. I don't know where it went. But Susan obviously knows what I'm talking about. But that right there is, as I mentioned, they're the third fastest growing, as far as population goes, country in the world. Now, you might be saying to yourself, why does that have anything to do with anything when it comes to atheism? Let me explain. The countries with the highest rates of atheism are actually the countries that are more secular, are the ones who are maintaining maybe +1, maybe -1% over the course of the next, let's say, 30 years, 20 to 30 years. It's these countries who finally have access to things that will give them wealth and that which will ensure that they have, access to food and infrastructure, things like that. Hey, here's something not to do. Don't use lead pipes. They are growing at a much faster and much higher. Is it much higher or much faster? High, faster rate. And because of that, you actually here's what you will see. A explosion, maybe not the best phrase considering the terrorist attacks and things like that, but a huge leap in the Muslim population. So what's actually Islam is going to, now not in the next 20 years, but it will be very close. Islam will overtake Christianity as the religion with the most adherents in the world. And it will come from countries like this, what we used to consider quote unquote third world countries and all of that stuff. A country that has like 3 highways. And as that happens, yes, there will be more atheists. There will be more people leaving religion, but the percentage of atheists won't actually grow because the population in the United States and other quote-unquote Western industrialized nations will not be growing at the same rate. So you're actually going to have more Muslims, fewer or just about the same number of Christians, and then while there will be more atheists, the percentage will stay the same. So Yes, there are more atheists. Yes, most of the folks in the United States that are leaving religion are leaving Christianity. But there aren't nearly the highest, for the percentage of atheists in Africa is not nearly that high. Okay. Now then. Here we go. I am going to show you a few slides. And I'm going to challenge you to kind of keep up with me here, because I'm going to show you a few things. These are what are known as curriculum vitae. And yes, I say things wrong on purpose. Here's what that is. This is a curriculum here. It says, this is where I went to school. Columbia University. I got a PhD in ancient history, also a master's in philosophy, and Master of Arts in ancient history. And that was, I went to Columbia. Good for this person. Also was in the Coast Guard. Went to UC Berkeley, got a bachelor's in history with a minor in classical civilization. Good for you. Right? Education, here we go. 1991 History of Science, PhD, Claremont Graduate School, dissertation right there. Master of Arts, California State University, Fullerton. We like to call them Cal State Fullerton. 1978, Experimental Psychology. And of course, a Bachelor of Arts, Pepperdine University, 1976, Psychology, Biology. And then professional positions. I don't have any professional positions. All right. Oops. What about this one? All right. 1988, got Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Philosophy minor at Marquette University. Master of Arts, 1992 at Philosophy at Fordham University. By the way, quick note, they're the Rams. And as bad as Nebraska was at football this year, they beat Fordham to death. Just gonna, Scott Frost sucks. Hashtag fire Scott Frost. And then, of course, you can see educational leadership, curriculum, and instruction at Portland State University. I feel like I'm missing one. I am missing one. Well, that makes me sad. Hold on. I am missing one. Where did it go? Where did it? Oh. Not that one. See, now I'm sad. See? This right here, this is what happens. Right here. Well, I had another one as well, but I'm not. It doesn't really matter. And all of those are super cool. And then what we have is this one. Now, mind you, I've taken the names out on purpose. But received his PhD in the state of Oklahoma and has a master's, sorry, it's behind my camera, in, there we go, in theology on the New Testament studies, and he has written a dissertation on the book of Daniel. One of these is not like the rest of them. So here you go. This guy right here, right? This guy had a psychology major from Marquette, philosophy from Fordham, the Rams. Nebraska beat them. And then, of course, at Portland State University, that is the one and only anti-woke Peter Boghossian, who canceled himself. Hey, Bree, it is so good to see you. Please stay, because trust me, it's about to get good. Here you go. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter that he wrote a book with James Lindsay, and that I don't agree with him, and that I think he's a piece of garbage, and he's self-canceled. This That's still impressive stuff. This guy right here. Oops, you read this one real quick. This guy right here. Cal State Fullerton, Pepperdine. Look at this, professional fellow at Chapman University, Claremont Graduate University, founder, editor-in-chief, Skeptic Magazine, Skeptic Society. All of this stuff. This is an awesome. Imagine writing your name on this. But then imagine that you'd be Michael Shermer and that you would be accused of an incredible amount of sexual improprieties up to and including rape. So that's who that was. This right here. U.S. Coast Guard, Cal Berkeley, PhD from Columbia. That's Richard Carrier. Richard Carrier, man, PhD from Columbia University. You either are like George W. Bush's family, or you actually have a reason to go to Columbia. And it is apparently, if you go to Columbia, so that you can use your credentials so that you can engage in, let's just say, sexual impropriety with co-eds, in which you reach out to your own students, or, yeah, you do it to the atheist community. And I had a long video about this. You can go and check it out for real. I also posted a short clip from it earlier today. I think it was this morning. I don't really know. Time works differently on the West Coast. So Bree, in the event that you do come out and visit, which you definitely still should, know that time works differently here. We don't live inside of like Einstein stuff. This is more like Copernican. But I bring all of that up because if you remember, there's this one. And it's Jim Majors. Now, I don't know how many of you actually know Jim Majors, or how many of you, I know rather that he is fairly well known, fairly popular. And I know that because you can ask Susan. We've met him on multiple occasions. We've hung out with him. And had the opportunity to, kind of get to know him. And I know a lot of people that know him. But one of these received his PhD in the state of Oklahoma, and he has a master's in theology and New Testament studies, and he has written a dissertation on the book of Daniel. Cool. Where'd you go to school, bro? Why doesn't it look like this? See, here, I don't want to, because this is the beginning of me talking about Jim. I don't want to poison the well, right? Maybe Jim Majors does have a PhD, and maybe it is, maybe he does have his master's in theology. Maybe he does. In fact, for the amount of people that he comes into contact with, I hope that he does. I actually really hope that he does. But go ahead and search it online. Look up, it's actually Jimmy. His name is Jimmy. Majors, PhD. Dissertation, look it up online. If you know a few people, wink, wink, hi there, you can get access to like dissertations and stuff like that. The Google Scholar. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't have a PhD. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a master's in theology. No. But I'm a skeptic, y'all. And if I don't do my skeptic thing, well, what am I really doing anyways? Oh, but I also found this. Sorry for that, the fact that it looks so odd. I just messed something up and I don't know. Where did it go? Boop. Here. How about this? This was from April. This is from April at MIT. That's the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Jim went and spoke there. This is his bio. Now, mind you, remember, you submit your own bio. This is Jim Majors is a PhD candidate in Hebrew Bible and Old Testament studies, where his research focuses on Danielic literature. He's currently in the final stages of his PhD, just finishing his dissertation, which explores a possible explanation for the composition of the book of Daniel and the methodology and purpose behind the final redactors and compilers' selection of the texts. During his early grad school days, Jim was a Pentecostal pastor with aspirations to build his own ministry. After only a few years in his PhD program, he slowly came to the realization that he had lost his faith and left the ministry as an atheist. Mind you, that part's not uncommon. It's in fact, he had the Clergy Project. Prior to pursuing his PhD, Jim received his THM in New Testament studies, which he had applied to the track of becoming a lead pastor of the church he co-pastored. Recently, Jim has been involved in the atheist community as an organization leader, public speaker, debater, and content creator. The emergence of the 23rd of March as the National Atheist Day was his doing. Jim's primary focus, besides his studies, lie in his efforts to educate both sides of the fence where he can, applying his studies, or those on both sides of the fence, applying his studies where it's needed most. He maintains the kind, nurturing nature he had as a Christian and hopes to build gates where there have been only fences. That's cool, bro. Where'd you go to school? Like, let me give you the intro for Bart Ehrman. You ready? Dr. Bart Ehrman is the James A. Gray Distinguished Professor of Religious Studies at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. See how easy that is? And yet, look it up. Now, again, maybe he has a PhD. I'd like to know where it's from. That's not really the reason that, because remember, it's the sexual misconduct stuff. You know that's coming. But he might have a PhD. Now, if he does have a PhD, is it from an accredited university, or are you another young earth creationist? Are you a Kent Hovind? I figured that Bree would get a kick out of that one. You see, we know Jim. Susan and I do. I think I've known him longer than Susan has. And we met him. What's funny is we actually met him at the first Atheist Day in 2019. Don't we have photos and videos, right? We went to that Methodist church and everything. That was the first time I saw Holy Kool-Aid, and that guy like yelled into a microphone. I was like, man, dude. Whoa. And got to see Jim there. And we hung out, and then some interesting things happened that evening when we were having drinks. Like the situation that he was involved in that was one of his own doing. Now, mind you, we were just like, wow, this is awkward for everybody involved, and actually a bit unfortunate and unsettling and downright sad for one person. But we just, we didn't know anything. Then roll around April of 2019. Faithless Forum, Dallas, Texas. We see him there. We're hanging out with him, right? Chilling out with him. He's there. he mentioned to us, well, actually, I'll get to that in a second because that actually is, and had talked to him about possibly getting together and doing something with like part of our show and stuff like that, really kind of try to get something off the ground. And that was really exciting. I just remembered that, Susan, because I was trying to figure out why he came up in conversation. And then a person that many of you likely know, and that I also trust with my life, approached me and said, hey, we need to talk about Jim. And I said, all right. And so we had a private conversation. Now, mind you, I asked that person if I could verify the information and then relay it to others, and they said yes. So, and Susan can verify that too. Said that Jim Majors, he was part of Atheist Republic. If you are unaware of the organization, might actually be better for you. But he was part of Atheist Republic. And I found it interesting that a person who, because Atheist Republic was the organization that really kind of got the ball rolling on the March 23rd thing for National Atheist Day. Well, if that was the case, why didn't Jim speak in Austin on National Atheist Day in March of 2019? Well, this person let me know that he had not had a, nice smooth separation from the Atheist Republic, but rather that he had been kicked out because of improprieties. Improprieties enough that warranted them kicking him out and not allowing him to be their representative at Atheist Day, at Faithless Forum, at anything going forward. And by the way, if you would like, you can reach out to the leaders of, or the leadership of Atheist Republic, and they will verify this. Severe improprieties, as it turns out. And Susan and I at that point immediately cut off contact with him because we do not deal with that. We will not be around that. And of course, it also kind of struck us as a bit odd. Like, we thought about it after the fact, like, if it was his idea to come up with March 23rd, which is the claim, right, for Atheist Day, why didn't he speak? Like, even if Atheist Republic had kicked him out for severe improprieties, you would still speak because, you're the one that thought of it. Just a interesting sidebar there. But last year, hey, 428, it's good to see you. Last year, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine from back in Texas. And again, Susan can tell you, we have the permission to share with you everything that you're going to see. It's just screenshots, by the way. It's nothing. And I don't know how Jim Majors got brought up in the conversation. I don't remember. I could go back and look, but it's not really important. All that I know is that he was brought up in conversation between she and I. Oops. And this is how it went. And this is Amber. What is he doing right now? The same awful stuff? Stealing people's stuff and manipulating them to pay his way? all while touting his string of BS lies. He said he was a Navy vet, but there are no records of his military career as a, quote, special ops. He said he was a firefighter, but it turns out he was fired for stealing, and I had the stuff in my storage. I ended up throwing it all out. He said he owned a home in Rankin, that's in Texas, but it was his grandma's, and he was just squatting. She was in the process of selling it, so when my stupid ass fell in love with his charm, I let him move in with us in Weatherford, it's just west of Dallas-Fort Worth, with his daughter. He told people I was his sister, that I was crazy, and damn if I didn't feel crazy. And right below the notification says, didn't realize that's what narcissists do. He would say he couldn't find his social security or birth certificate to get a job or to get an updated license. That comes up later. I gave him money twice to order social and birth certificates, and the money was taken, but he never got his stuff. He was a bum the entire time we were together. I worked 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to support the four of us, including the only child of his he has custody of. He has like 3 or 4 kids. That comes up again. He has like 3 or 4 kids with just as many women. When I miscarried our child, he was with me at the hospital, and he told me not to tell anyone. 4 hours later, while I was sobbing in the back of his mother's house, he told me to quit moping because his parents were wondering what was wrong. Jesus Christ. You know, I've read these multiple times, so I know what they say. Saying it out loud, though. Oh my God. Holy shit, man. There's me in my Navy uniform. She said he never served. He constantly had appointments at the VA that he could, quote, never make it to, and, quote, couldn't get his military ID, so he had a valid form of ID to get a job, help with the bills. He always complained about his pain in his back. Okay, let me just go ahead and go over some here. I literally have pain in my back all the time, and I have to have, so bad I have to have physical therapy. I'm just going to say that does sometimes happen, but I can see what she means here. And hell, he would use his war injuries as an excuse in bed for me to do all the work and not get any satisfaction. If I didn't hate this person before, I was 18 in that photo. I have aged perfectly. And talking about, we joke a ton. I'm talking about Susan. And I said I should warn you about a few others, people like Lawrence Krauss, Richard Carrier, Michael Shermer, you know, the people that I talk about on a regular basis. And Amber said because a Jenny reached out to me, this is her, after she was having issues with him in her group, preying on women. And she actually met me face to face at the Church of Free Thought in Dallas. And I thought I was a terrible person because of what Jim was saying, until she found out firsthand that I was not a crazy ex and that he is a piece of shit. Thanks, babe. She said, I will try to get through some paperwork, see if I still have the screenshots from everything. There's a lot of stuff. Shit, I still have the back due child support paperwork of his from his other kids, because he kept telling everyone we were married, so they tried collecting the money from me. And also the CPS paperwork. I mean, it's really just the family plan paperwork with his name and stuff on it. I don't know if that would help, but I might still have the emergency room bill from when I miscarried his kid. And she's very thankful for that, for the fact that we care. And I do, she did send me those documents, and I have them, like I have the photos of them and what they say, because this is This is the next one. Fear of losing. Oh, yeah. Said, let me go through paperwork. He was mostly emotionally abusive, but sometimes physically abusive. He made it so even I thought my son was lying because Jim is so good at bending the truth and gaslighting. He spanked my son so much and so often that while I was at work, CPS got involved. He made me lie and say I was also spanking him, so I was equally in trouble just to keep him from going to jail. That was early on in the relationship, so I didn't know better. I still do think CPS took advantage of the fact that we were broke and couldn't fight back, but it was traumatic. We had to do couples therapy for months, which he made me lie about how we're doing to the therapist for fear of losing my son. That's what's written on the top. It's what's cut off. And I fear to date again because of Jim. In one therapy session, he told his therapist, this is her son. He told his therapist that Jim made him wear a diaper around the hotel we were living in and nothing else because he had an accident in the bed during the night. He then proceeded to shove my son down the stairs while making him walk around humiliated in a diaper. He had a bruise and welt on his head when I came home from work, and Jim said that Nate, that's his son's name, good name, had hit his head on the floor doing push-ups during one of his military-style punishments. Nate was so sweating and crying, and I don't even remember what the, quote, crime was. He, meaning Jim, is an abusive piece of shit. I don't remember what the last thing says. This is Emily. Amber, I asked if anybody else would be willing to talk and would be willing to, that we could, if it was okay, if we could share this. And so she got in touch with Emily here. And her first words, oh wow, he's at it again. I met Jim online through an atheist group. We became friends and he started messaging me. The messages continued. And he told me he was single and interested. I believed him because I never saw any woman on his Facebook. I found out after he spent the night that he used his girlfriend's car to drive down to see me. I learned that he had a girlfriend through a mutual friend. I confronted him and he said that it was his ex-girlfriend and she was crazy. I didn't believe him. His girlfriend and I spoke to each other, and we confronted him, and he blocked us both from his social media and a group her and I were both in that he was an admin for. Jim told me he was a military veteran, was once a preacher, and that he had his own place. He lied about everything, and I dumped him as soon as I talked to his girlfriend. She and I became friends, and I know to stay away from him because he is a narcissist. I hope that helps. If those girls, fair enough, want to message me, I'll be happy to talk to them. Okay. That's two ex-girlfriends. Right? Two ex-girlfriends. Both, maybe they both have a chip on their shoulder. Right? I mean, that is what do you call that when you have I forget what that's even called when there's one person one story, another person another story. I can't think of it right now, and it's a phrase that I'm well aware of. Come up here, smart camera. It's like he said, she said, right? Forget what that phrase is. And then we get to this. State of Oklahoma versus Jimmy Majors. Offense: child abuse, Class A felony. And if you'll notice, case identifier, criminal felony proceedings. It's May of 2019. He and Amber weren't together in May of 2019. It's not Amber's kid. It's not Nate. This is a whole different thing. Amber has never lived anywhere but DFW as far as I know. Certainly never in Oklahoma. This is a different person. Let me just it's over a little bit. How's that? There you go. He was arrested in March of 2019. Hey, Riley, yeah. 1/3/2020. Defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his rights to a preliminary hearing. The case is ordered set for the plea on 2/10/20, 9 a.m. before Judge Edwards. Waives rights to, I forget what FA is again, within 30 days of today's date. And you can see on the 10th of February, defendant appears with counsel. This makes me really, really mad. Oops. Defendant appears with counsel and wishes to waive his previously entered plea of not guilty. State appears by McLean. Defendant waives his right to right to record, jury trial, non-jury trial, preliminary hearing, pre-sentence investigation, and enters his plea of no contest. The court accepts his plea, finds defendant guilty of Class A felony child abuse. Defers sentencing, 1 year supervised probation, $150, etc. Parenting class, no contact with the victim, except as allowed in whichever they may have had. He's guilty of fucking child abuse. And that was last year. He abused a child back in when he and Amber were together. And see, here's the thing. And by the way, I think the link, you can see this. There's a link. It's free. You can actually look at this. I don't know if I put it in the description yet. I'm sorry. But Jim Majors, again, let me just show this again. Jim Majors on 2/10 of 2020 pled guilty to fucking felony child abuse. How was he going to college when he was being guilty of child abuse? How was he spending so much time at this church as a Pentecostal pastor when he was living with and off of Amber, and they were homeless because of him, and he wouldn't get a job? How was that happening? I mean, I'm sorry. Get rid of everything else. The motherfucker is guilty of child abuse. He owes like $9,000 in child support. And that was years ago. Who knows what the fuck it is now? Oh, I almost forgot. Remember that thing that he was guilty of guilty of doing a felony child abuse? Remember that thing? Remember that? Yeah, here's the thing. Here you go, 210, then 228.20, and then wait a second, tax intercept sent to the OTC for processing in 511. And wait, hold on a second. Case report sent to OTC for processing and collections. Collections? You mean that he never that's me. He never paid for that. He never paid what he agreed to pay when he did a fucking felony child abuse that he was guilty of. Seriously, he never paid. Not one time. You can see right there, 6/7/2019, bench warrant issued. I know that because I was talking to Amber this past December about this, because she didn't know. Right? She didn't know that he was saying these things about the PhD and stuff. She thought that was just hilarious, by the way. He was a pastor. Are you serious? Where? That was like her response. Is she's like, none of this shit's true. And he also, she mentioned it because he had an outstanding warrant for his arrest, because he was arrested for driving without a license. Look, I don't get a license or whatever, dude. I guess that you haven't had one for it's not against the law to not have a license. You drive without a license. Don't do that. But I mean, it's not, I don't know, felony child abuse. But he didn't pay again. He didn't pay what he agreed to pay for that either. So now he currently has an outstanding warrant for his arrest in Oklahoma. Susan and I have told people about this in private. We have informed people about Jim. But much like we did with rationality rules, not a single person has cared. Not one. Like I talked to Mikey Famine, right? Who was a friend of mine, about rationality rules and his transphobia and his outright racism. I mentioned it to him. He had no idea. I said, yeah, here's the evidence. He never got back to me. Still hangs out on a channel that says, hey, we're friends with rationality rules. So no, I don't expect people to, I honestly don't expect people to actually watch this video, but I don't expect people to care. I see transphobes, racists, sexists, any other kind of bigot all over the fucking atheist airwaves. That was Susan's first show. And you're going to do what you want with that. I get it. I get it. I do. Atheists don't. I made a whole video about this. You got a fucking consent problem. You don't care about bigotry. I know. But maybe felony fucking child abuse. Maybe that'll do something. Right? Right? Like maybe. I've spent a fair amount of time over and I tell Susan, every single person that I get in contact with, about my own past, that I have owned, and the reason that I do things like this is because people need to know, first off, who you're platforming and who you're friends with. But also because people need to be protected. And personally, if somebody had, now I've never been physically abusive, but if somebody had outed me for the lies that I told to my girlfriends and the things that it would have been the right thing to do. And I have spent time speaking honestly and openly with those who will speak with me, who I harmed. Like today, I spoke with somebody who threatened to go public with the info a few years back. And he and I had a great conversation earlier today. But my response to him whenever he said he was going to tell people about it was the response you get from abusive people, where I wanted to attack him instead. Now, that whole situation, you know, I think we both made errors, but mine was the fact that I had hurt people. And I personally don't like seeing people get hurt. I see the harm that I caused, and I don't like seeing it. It actually hurts me to see to see when I tell people things about Richard Carrier and none of you fucks care. Hashtag not all shut up. And I tell you, and myself and Pine Snake and damn it, I forget the other person's name, come out and say, yo, this motherfucker is transphobic and is racist, and y'all motherfuckers don't care because you still have him on your channel. In the United States, in the United States, we decided back in what? I love you, Gary, very much. We decided back in what? 2013, 2014? When was Sandy Hook? There have been so many of them now that I can't remember, but I think Sandy Hook was, oh no, it was like 2012, wasn't it? Yeah, it was like 10 years ago. Oh, Riley, yeah, we could, right? When we decided at that point that we weren't going to do anything about guns, was when we decided as a country that kids don't matter, that life doesn't actually matter, right? That's when we decided as a country. Atheists have so far decided that platforming known sexual predators is fine. Even yesterday, I had a conversation with somebody who invited me on their channel. Thank you very much for that. I don't do a lot of appearances anymore. And had mentioned Richard Carrier, and they said, wait, what? Sexual predator? And I said, yeah, here's the info. Person never got back to me. I'm an NVIDIA developer, man. um, when we talk about somebody like Richard Carrier, we talk about somebody like Michael Shermer, Lawrence Krauss, David Silverman, and as I mentioned tonight, Jim Majors, who not only is a sexual predator, but also is a felon because he abused a child. Like this isn't he said, she said, right? Hold on. Let me just right there. He is a felon because, and he admitted to it, abusing a child, something that happened in 2019 because that's when he was arrested for abusing a fucking child. But it makes me so mad. It does. It makes me mad. Not just that this person is a fucking abusive piece of shit, but that nobody cares. Nobody says their names. They keep getting platforms. They keep getting invitations as doctor. Even though, where'd you go to school again? Where was that? Jim, where did you go to school? Hold on. Let me look real quick. You went to school in the state of Oklahoma. Awesome. Your curriculum thing looks just like Richard Carrier's. See, at least this sexual predator has real credentials. I don't believe you. And I have good reason to not believe you, because every single person who you have lied to and have hurt, they're not afraid to tell people. And what's funny is they all have the same fucking story. How is it possible that every single person throughout your adult life has the same story? Do they all know each other or something? Do they all come together and say, this is what we're going to do? Or Jim, how are you going to gaslight your way out of this one? Huh? Why am I not surprised that Richard Carrier was not good to women? Made a whole video about that. Hey, B. Oh, I was just welcoming in. I was just actually kind of finishing up. I just you can go back and watch like the previous 20 minutes. I was talking about how you may not know him. His name is Jim Majors. He claims to have a PhD from the University of who knows, and he's also he has been convicted of child abuse recently. So, and yet he has a ton of platforms, and yay atheism. We just keep platforming people. So we do. We don't care if they're transphobic, racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic, they abuse children, they lie about having PhD. Who the fuck cares? We'll platform anybody because that's what we do here at Atheist Inc. I meant to make it like atheisting, but I hope that works. We're friends with this person. He's only made so many transphobic videos. We're friends with this person. He's only said that white privilege isn't at all about race, but rather about culture. Oh, if only they had a different culture, right, Sam Harris? Because that's what you said. But then Rationality Rules just kind of like parroted you. Or the rest of the white supremacists. I don't know. He platforms them. But that's okay, guys. It's okay to platform white supremacists. Maybe we'll learn something new. Maybe we'll learn something new about white supremacy today. Maybe their white supremacy isn't quite as white supremacy as what it was before. I just continue to platform. These are my friends. That's what I hear. But again, right here, right fucking here. February 10th, 2020. Ignore everything else if you want to. The multiple people that have come forward to me and have said you can use these screenshots where we detail the things that Jim did to us and to our children. Oklahoma, last year. I don't need he said, she said. There's the fucking papers. I know Maya. That's why I did the hashtag not all. You know who doesn't care? Anybody that streams. Godless Cranium, right? That's who they are, right? I haven't seen anybody take a stance against any of these people. Wait till you find out about rationality rules, B. See, I've made my mistakes, and I've owned them. I mention them all the time because it's important. And in fact, my reminders of the harm that I caused are the reasons that I do this. I am certain that has a lot to do with it. But motherfucker, I wish somebody would care. I wish one person would stream and actually talk about this shit. Oh, no, I know. But, B, we had the conversation and hadn't seemed to affect anybody. Rationality Rules still got like 500,000 followers. Yeah, and we... But somebody should ask him. Somebody should say something. Right? What did Spider-Man say? Spider-Man said, when we have the ability to stop people from hurting others, and we choose to not do anything, when people get hurt, we're partially at fault. I believe that. If I have the ability to stop something, to warn somebody, nobody has listened yet. But if I have the ability to do that, shouldn't I do it? What a video. What a... B, I get like 30 views per video. I think that anybody that does it matters. And I appreciate you very much. But you know what? Even with all of this evidence, even with everything here, like it's a fucking court record, man. It's not going to matter. Well, B, Neil knows all about him and he's friends with him, so I don't know. And instead of responding to us asking him about that, Neil was just like, I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to stop following you. Way to take accountability, white male atheists. Because when I say this stuff, I think it's pretty obvious that the people that I'm speaking to are the people that I'm also talking about. Because how many times is it somebody that's not a white dude? Oh, do you guys want? I want to end on a more positive note. Do you guys? There's been one. Well, I gave up. I gave it. One woman. No, B. I don't say that to try to shame you. I hope that. But I think you are included in the white male thing. And the white man thing. But there's been one woman that's won the Congressional Medal of Honor. It's not really called the Congressional Medal of Honor anymore. People just do that for some reason. One woman. And this is just in case I'm not able to make a show here in the next few weeks because March is Women's History Month. And bald and beard is beautiful. I agree. It was Mary Walker. Mary L. Walker, won the Medal of Honor. She was also the nation, this nation, first female surgeon. And in the Civil War, she wanted to be a surgeon, but they wouldn't let her. Partially because she said, I'm not wearing these damn dresses, and she made herself pants. She would walk around in pants. Now, mind you, she had and a coat, and she had the about knee length type of cut for what a dress would be, but it was more of a skirt. And she'd walk around in pants. And she was once arrested in New Orleans and accused. She was arrested and accused. This was something you could be arrested for in New Orleans, of having a homosexual encounter. She won the Medal of Honor because she was captured. She crossed enemy lines into the lines of the traitors who were fighting to keep the law of owning people. Weird thing to fight for. Anyways, and she was helping soldiers. She became a surgeon. She actually did get that. She became a surgeon. She was the first one, not only the first female surgeon in the United States, but obviously at that point also the first female surgeon in the United States military. Or that served with the military. She was never actually in the military. A woman in the military? Are you kidding me? And she was captured by Confederate soldiers and continued to help people who were wounded when she was in the jail. And they did a prisoner exchange. One surgeon for one surgeon. Pretty funny. And she was awarded the Medal of Honor for her bravery and her gallantry. Mind you, the only medal that was given out in the Civil War was the Medal of Honor. So technically, everybody won the Medal of Honor. But, go back, in 1919, Congress got together and they said, there's a lot of people here that probably shouldn't have gotten the Medal of Honor. And there were some odd 700 and something people. And Mary Walker had hers taken away. And she told them where they could take it, and she would walk around with her Medal of Honor on her clothing, and she would walk around with it, practically daring them to try. She set the stage for Susan B. Anthony. Progressive woman. Now, mind you, she was part of the temperance movement, but, come on. Newton was an alchemist. And she set the stage for the suffragettes. And she died in 1920. 1 year before women gained the right to vote. White women gained the right to vote. Jimmy Carter was president. Years later, Jimmy Carter became president. I think when she died, he was 18 or something. His administration reversed the decision, and she had been buried in New England in a suit, and they made sure that she was buried with an American flag draped on there and with the honors that you would receive because you're a Medal of Honor recipient. And so she is in, you can actually go and you can see her name. She's the only woman that is in the list of Medal of Honor recipients. She's pretty badass. Telling you. The women who were part of the movement that she was a part of distanced themselves from her because she was wearing pants. And we married kind of be president. Gary, yeah, you too. I'm gonna. I can hear Susan laughing in the other room, and I have no idea. But yeah, B. It doesn't matter how big of a channel that we have. It doesn't matter how big of a crowd of people we have watching us. It doesn't matter whether they like what we're saying, as long as we're not Nazis. That goes without saying, right? It doesn't matter if they don't like how we're changing the world. The only thing that matters is that we do what we know is right. And Dr. Mary Walker did what was right and what she knew was right. It's the most difficult thing to do. But if she was brave enough to wear pants in the 19th century, what exactly do I think I'm going through in the 21st century? For real. Just saying. B, I love reading that. Not B and B. Okay, we got to change names here. One of you. Okay. One of you, heard military jets going over the other night, and so I was listening. First world problems. Okay, Beck, thank you so much. I haven't kept up. I'm sorry. But a reminder, this is Peter Boghossian, the anti-woke person who canceled himself from Portland State University. He's got a badass little resume here. Right? Michael Shermer, credible accusations of rape. He still went to Pepperdine, Cal State Fullerton. Just saying. Richard Carrier, Columbia University, Cal Berkeley, Ventura College, ACE, United States Coast Guard. Not bad for a sexual predator. They at least went to school, Jim. You might be a sexual predator like they are. And you might, I don't know who else does the whole child abuse thing. But I'm certain that some people that I would know that went to college do, or have, or are convicted of it like you are. But at least they went to school, and they're not lying about their PhD. Jim Majors. Jimmy Merle Majors. Just saying. My ginger is too. My mustache is growing back out. So I think that's enough for tonight, right? It's 7:40. I need to get something to eat, and then I need to go to bed. I got to be up early in the morning, or whatever, nighttime, whatever it is in the UK at that time. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching this in the future. If you want to share this out, just say, hey, go to like the 30-minute mark or something, because then he starts talking about how Jim Majors is a felon because he did child abuse. Maybe that'll get some views. Maybe I'll get somebody mad at me. Oh, you're mad because oh my God. Oh no. What a horrible thing for you to be mad at me because I told oh no. Yeah, girl, I wake up at 3:15. So I don't usually get to bed. I don't usually get to sleep at 8 p.m. But it's also a nice time for me and Susan to be able to lay down next to each other and talk without having like the computers or something in front of us. So that's nice. And then sometimes she uses the massage gun on my back. So nice. And I always get to see her boobs. Like every time. And you can be jealous. It's totally fine. I mean, I would be.